I made $5,000 in one day trading Forex, but this video isn't about flexing. It's about telling you what happens when everything finally clicks. When you're prepared, when you're focused, when you've actually been waiting for exactly what you wanted to see in the markets. That is what trading is about. That's how I was able to make $5,000 in one day of trading. This was one of those days where you don't just hope, you know you're right. Now, before I actually break down this trade, the first thing you need to understand, guys, is that trading Forex is difficult. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. And it has taken me a very long time to get to the point where I am today, where I can live in Thailand and take these profitable trades, okay? But trust me, I went through so many failures. I didn't see results for such a long time. And I'd say only really in the last year and a half / year, I've started to see really good results, but that has only come from working extremely hard. Now, I want to just say as well that this wasn't just a good trade for me, but members in my community caught this exact same trade as well, and some of them were even able to pass funded accounts literally from this one trade. So here's exactly how that trade played out, from the moment I knew it was a high probability trade, and also down to the execution and also the exit of this trade as well. Let's get into it. So guys, the first thing I want to show you before I go into the charts, which I will do, don't worry, is I want to show you the exact Sunday analysis that I did the Sunday before this trade even played out. And you'll see that I called this trade out to perfection, even before it happened on the markets, literally a few days before it even happened. So let's head over to my community and you can see here, Sunday analysis, and let's go and watch this analysis. And you guys can see that I literally predicted this exact move to perfection.
So this, so main structure, there we go.
So as you can see right here, I'm doing the analysis on Sunday, and in case you're a bit confused as to what I'm looking at, right now I'm basically just on the charts trying to analyze where DXY might want to go. So let's play out what we're seeing.
That could be respected and then continue going lower like this is possible, right? There's always going to be like two different scenarios to work on, right? Your first scenario is going to be that we go higher to start the week and then react off a fair value gap or a supply zone, then go lower to target the previous week low. Or we could go lower straight away, and if we go lower straight away, then you could look for maybe a reaction off this demand zone to then pull back upwards, maybe.
So as you can see, I'm just basically analyzing DXY here. Now let's go over to where I actually decide on what I want to look for this week, okay? And as you can see, I spend 37 minutes analyzing the markets on Sunday before they even open. Now, the reason I do this is because Sunday is the most important day of trading. Now, people might not think that because they might think the only important day is Monday to Friday, but Sunday literally sets you up for success and you have to analyze the markets before they open. Now, what I'm going to show you here is my final predictions of what I was wanting for this week. And as you can see, it ends up happening perfectly. So let's skip forward a few seconds and I'll show you here on DXY what I was looking for.
We could be looking for, yeah, I mean, at the same time, maybe a reaction from this here.
So as you can see, I was looking for a reaction from this 4-hourly supply zone on DXY. And then what I'll show you on GU, I was looking for, as you can see right here, a reaction from this demand zone on the 4-hour on GU. Now let's go into the live charts and show you how this literally happened perfectly. So now that we understand we were looking for a reaction from this demand zone down here, it's now as simple as waiting for that reaction to happen, okay? So as you saw from my analysis that I did on Sunday, I basically said after that call was done and during the call as well, I will be waiting for price to come into this 4-hour demand zone that I mentioned on Sunday, and for DXY at the same time to react to this 4-hour supply zone as well, which I mentioned on Sunday. And then that is when I'm going to look for a trade. Okay, unless I see price come into here and give me my confirmation, I won't be trading. And the same goes for GU. Unless I see GU reacting from this area here, I won't be trading. And that is super important because you want to wait for the best setups. Yes, I trade Asian sweeps, but you need to understand this, okay? I don't trade every Asian sweep. I only trade maybe once or twice a week on the best possible Asian sweep setups. And that's how I'm such a good trader, okay? And it all stems from higher time frame. So now that I've been watching GU very closely for the last couple of days, I then went onto the charts on Tuesday knowing I was waiting for price to come back into this demand zone here. We did get a reaction from it on Monday. However, after Monday played out, okay, it ended up pushing higher. So on Tuesday, I was looking for a retest of this demand zone again to then continue going higher. Okay, the reason why I wanted a retest is because, as you can see, we had so much liquidity resting below the previous day low down here, which I'll mark out like this, previous day low, okay? And we also had liquidity from, of course, Asian low. We had liquidity, of course, as well from this low right here, which we actually took out in London session. And you could have actually caught a trade in London session here. A few of the community members did take this trade here from this fair value gap. But for me personally, I waited for New York session and I waited for the news to come out. The news came out actually bad for the dollar, so good for the pound, and that's when I look to get an entry around here. Okay, now this is all based off higher time frame. As you can see, I was patient and I waited for my analysis to play out. I didn't force the analysis, I let it come into these areas and then I look for a trade. Okay, you want to let the market do its thing, and then when it gives you a setup, that's when you take the trade. Stop trying to force setups in the market, because that's why you're losing. You're constantly looking for a trade instead of letting the market do what it wants to do and then react to what it's done. Okay, I marked my levels. I wasn't hunting for a trade. I was patient and I let the market come to me. Very, very simple, guys. This is something that I teach my students all the time. And when you can master the art of patience, trading will start to feel so much easier. For example, from this exact position, I had 2 students in my community pass a 200k account and become 200k funded, which I'll show you guys right here and right here. And I think I had 2 other people pass a 10k account as well. This just shows you the importance of patience, waiting for the market to come to you rather than forcing the market even when it's not in your proper areas. So when price tapped into my zone here and took out liquidity, I didn't hesitate. I waited for my confirmation and I took the trade. I've seen this setup play out 100 times and I know exactly what I'm looking for every single time I go into the markets now. So in this example, we had news at 3 p.m. So of course I waited for that news to come out. And as you can see, the news actually came out bad for the dollar, so good for the pound, which is even better because it strengthens my trade even more, because now the news is aligning with what I want to see. So after the news came out here, I looked to get an entry literally anywhere from this area. I believe I entered somewhere around here. My exact entry, by the way, will be up here on the screen. But if I am remembering correctly, I believe it was this point right here. I think it ended in 983. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. But anyway, it will be up on the screen so you guys can see it for yourself. I entered here with a 10 pip stop loss because that's the stop loss I always use. And as you can see, if I go and play out price, we ended up going and basically shooting up straight away, okay? My target for this trade was Asian high. However, as you'll see, this trade didn't actually go to my TP. If I play it out here, we end up coming very close, but not hitting it. So now that leads us on to Wednesday. And if we go on to Wednesday, you'll see that this is when I was able to basically catch a scaling position because I understand the market, right? And scaling into this original trade is totally acceptable to do, which I'll go ahead and show you guys right now. Now, it's also super important to understand my mindset while I'm in these trades, okay? I wasn't on the charts. I would have been doing something else. I would have been recording a YouTube video. I would have been making a TikTok video. I would have been sunbathing in my balcony in Bangkok. I would have been doing anything other than being on the charts, okay? Because guys, a word of advice from a full-time trader to you guys watching is the worst thing you can do when you're on the charts is sit there literally watching everything, okay? The best thing you can do, on the other hand, is literally shut your laptop, come off, and find something else to do. So that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have been on the charts at this time. I would have just been letting the trade play out, okay? And that's the key to being successful. Stop looking at the charts for so long, right? Because then your psychology is going to get the better of you. You are going to start to reconsider the trade that you're in. Maybe you're going to close it too early. Maybe you're going to move to break even too early. Maybe you're going to end up taking a loss for no reason. And that is what kills 99% of trader success. It's having bad psychology, and you can easily fix this, guys, by just coming off the charts when you take a trade and trusting yourself that you do know how to trade. Your analysis is correct and this will eventually hit TP. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. I'm going to teach you how to scale in to winning positions. And of course, remember guys, that this trade here was still valid. I was still in this trade. It just hadn't hit my TP, so I held it overnight. Okay, now when it came to Wednesday, I marked out my Asian low, and I was simply just waiting for Asian low to get swept so that I could then look for a re-entry and basically scale into my original position, which happened right here on Tuesday. Okay, now as you'll see, price ends up going down, and then we see this amazing rejection right here on the 15-minute chart. Now after I see that, I remain calm and I just start to look for an entry. Super simple. Okay, I've seen my confirmation, I've seen a sweep of Asian low, it's with the higher time frame, and everything is looking perfect. Okay, and also at the same time, I'll go and show you DXY right here. I remember DXY had swept Asian high and it was reacting to this 15-minute area of supply right here. Okay, and once I started to see it respect it, which you'll see right here, from this candle, that's when I got my entry. Okay, I waited to see this supply zone respected on DXY, and then on GU, I simply looked for an entry around this point right here. My exact entry will be right here on the screen, so you guys can see I'm not lying. And my entry, I believe, was somewhere around here. Stop loss 10 pips as always. And then as you can see, this eventually goes and smashes my take profit. And because I scaled in, because I trusted my own analysis, and because I have faith in my ability to trade, I was able to essentially double the profit on this trade because I scaled in and because I wasn't scared. A big mistake people make is when it comes to scaling in, they're too scared because they might not trust the analysis as much as they should. And if that's the case, you're not going to scale in correctly. You need to trust your analysis. You need to have faith, because as you can see, this trade literally had no drawdown and smashed all of my take profits. Now, what's interesting as well is I could have actually held this trade for the previous week high all the way up here. And that's something I knew was going to happen based on my Sunday analysis as well. If the market's bullish, it's very, very simple. It is going to go to the previous week high. That is so obvious, okay? Now, the reason I didn't hold this trade for so long is simply because there's no need to be greedy. I believe I made, I think, $5,100, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. But for me, that's enough, okay? And at that point, I decided to come off the charts and basically leave it, okay? But as you'll see, I could have held this trade all the way for the previous week high, and that would have made me 7R on this trade, 9R on this trade. So that would be 9,000 here, 7,000 here, basically 8,000. So what's that, like $15,000, $16,000 from one position. And this just shows you guys the importance of patience, okay? You don't need to trade every day. What you need to do, and I can't stress this enough, is wait for your setups to come to you. Analyze the markets on Sunday. And by the way, I do this every single Sunday with my community, which is why there's so much success in there, because they know exactly what I'm looking for every single day, because I do it on Sunday and I tell them what I'm looking for the week, right? And the benefit of this is that you're not going to be over trading anymore. You're going to know exactly what I'm looking for so that you can be patient and wait for the market to come to you like we did this week. And then when you see your setup, that's when you take the trade. And that's how you're going to be able to catch massive trades like this. You might sometimes see me posting on Instagram huge trades like this and you're questioning, how do you take these trades? Why can't I take these trades? The answer is simple. Your higher time frame analysis is not as good as it could be. And that is what's hindering your trading ability, and that's why you're not successful. If you can master higher time frame, if you can literally get to a point where you can predict exactly what's going to happen, like I did on Sunday, okay, then your trading will massively improve. And that's what you need to be able to do. So guys, I want to leave you with a few different lessons that you can learn from this video, okay? The first lesson is that preparation equals confidence. When you're trading, you need to be prepared to take the trades. If you haven't prepared yourself on the Sunday before or the day before or before market open, for example, you're not going to know what you're looking for. You're going to be rushing into a trade, and that's how you're going to basically fail at trading. You need to be prepared with what you are looking for before the market opens. That's super important, and that's why, as you saw, I spent like 40 minutes, I think 37 minutes, analyzing the market with my community on Sunday before the markets even opened, which allowed me to predict perfectly, first of all, what the market will do and prepare myself to be patient enough to wait for that scenario to happen so that when it happens, I can execute on the market with super confidence, knowing that I've predicted this exact thing on Sunday before, so that when it comes to taking the trade, I'm always going to take it because I know it's exactly what I wanted to see. So that's the first lesson you can learn from this, okay? Understand that preparation is literally the key to success. Now, the next lesson is that one good setup will always be better than having 5 average setups. The reason why is because if you can take one good setup a week, that means your win rate is going to improve because you will lose less. And if you're losing less, your confidence will increase because you're losing less. So when it comes to taking a trade, you know that you're more likely to win. So you're more confident to take the trade. And as a result of that, you're actually going to start winning trades instead of being too scared to take trades because you know most of the trades you normally take lose because you overtrade. So taking one trade instead of taking 5 trades, instead of trading every single day of the week, will massively improve your trading. There's no doubt about it. Okay, and that's the second lesson. And now lesson number 3 is to detach yourself from the outcome of trading. The only thing you can really control is your setup and your execution. Other than that, everything is down to the market, and at that point you have nothing else you can contribute to the trade other than literally just leaving it and letting it play out and hoping it hits DP, stop loss, or break even. Other than that, you can't do anything. So why are you on the charts? Why are you focused on what's going on rather than leaving it and letting it play out based on your analysis and based on your predictions of the market? You can't control the market, so stop trying to act like you can. Stop watching the market, stop watching your trades, because no matter how much you watch it, no matter how much you pray it goes up, it doesn't depend on you, it depends on the market, and you can't control it at all. So stop trying to control the market. Now, the reason why I've shared these lessons and this trade with you is because I want you to feel this level of clarity in your own trading. I want you to get to a point where you're not guessing anymore. You're simply just following your edge and following your strategy and following everything you're meant to be doing. You're not making mistakes anymore. You understand the higher time frame. You're confident in your trading ability. That's what I want you to become. So if you're actually serious about mastering trading like my students did this week, as you saw, literally 2 of them passed a 200k funded account, as well as many other people passing funded accounts as well, then all you need to do is hit the link below in the description, join my community, trade live with me every single day so that you can catch these setups as well. I'm constantly improving my community. I'm constantly developing everybody in there. I'm constantly trying to make everybody successful in trading. And if you're looking to join, if you're looking to actually master trading and trade live with me every single day, watch my analysis, learn from my courses, literally change your life, then like I said, guys, hit the link below in the description, because seriously, if you found value in this short video, imagine how much value you would gain from watching me trade live every day, analyze the markets every Sunday, learn from my courses. Literally, you guys will transform your trading, and I can almost guarantee that. So if you're looking to learn, hit the link below in the description, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I will see you in the next one. Peace.